Hey y'all, I'm your host, Miss Nikki, and I welcome you to Something to Say, where we dig into topics that aren't really discussed in the church but are felt and experienced in everyday life. God always has something to say to every one of us. What is he saying today? Back with another episode. The name of this episode, as you can tell by the title, is Death to the Soul. So, I wanted to wrap up two more things that kind of characterize what you guys may be feeling for the first time and not being able to put a name to it, not being able to express what you're going through because of all the confusion and the love bombing and the, triangulation, all the different terms that you may be experiencing. Again, it may not have been able to say this is what it is because no one understands you. I just wanted you to know that you are not alone. If you are listening to the podcast on YouTube, comment down below. Not your experiences, but just a high five that you finally got somebody who understands what it is that you've been feeling and what you've been going through. I really feel like the Lord pushed me to do this episode, although it was something that I did want to discuss. I haven't been ready for a long time to even talk about this. It is so much information, and this doesn't even hit it all. It really doesn't. So to get into these last few concepts, and then we're going to wrap this up. Hoovering is a type of emotional abuse or emotional blackmail. Hoovering is done when they think the victim or the person who they abuse or control is seeking to move away or move on. A narcissist is manipulative. They know how to push your buttons to make you feel validated or guilty. Hoovering is a way of sucking the victim back into a relationship with them because they're running low on narcissistic supply. Relationships with narcissists are highly addictive. This can cause what's called a trauma bond. This is the second one. Trauma bond, a strong emotional attachment to someone who is destructive to you. Because of this addiction or trauma bond, you want to be with the person. You feel compelled, so when they show back up in your life, the narcissist, apologizing or promising that everything will be wonderful, you want to believe this. You're sucked back in, you're hoovered. This dilemma is named after Hoover vacuum cleaner. So they suck you back in. Hoovering is something that they use knowing that you want to leave them, right? They promised you that they weren't going to act this way. They've lied. They've, made up silly arguments, what we were talking about in the last episode as the narcissistic word salad. I said food salad. Word salad. They've done all this talking in circles but not saying anything, trying to make you believe that it's not them, it's you. You're the crazy one. And then when you get tired of it, whether you understand what's going on or not, because I know it's just a complete state of confusion, their behavior, not being able to talk about it, them not wanting to talk about it, not being able to share with anybody else. When you say enough is enough and you're like, you know what, I'm not dealing with this anymore. This is just nuts. It's too much. You walk away. They hoover you. They tell you all the things that you want to hear, which is they know that they've been wrong and, they just going through a lot. They're sorry, and they promise to be the person that you met when you were being love bombed. They promise to be that person from the beginning. And you're addicted like a crackhead. And the reason why I use crackhead, because they always say that crackheads are trying to chase the first high that they've ever gotten, right? If you know anything about drug addicts, crackheads, when they first get high, it's like one of the best feelings that they've ever felt, is what they say. And so the whole time that they're on drugs, they are chasing that one specific high, but they never get it again. And so this is what narcissists understand and what they do. The issue with these personality disorder people is that they know exactly what they're doing. I cannot express this enough. You find this out in the hoovering stage. If you've ever been with a narcissist and you've ever been with them for a long period of time, you will see this cycle repeat itself over and over. And as you watch this cycle, as you watch them play the same moves out, use the same tactics, you will realize that they know exactly what it is that you want. But they're not willing to provide it to you because they want what they want. It's just like watching a dog do tricks. If the dog doesn't perform the trick, or the dog doesn't follow the command, then the dog doesn't get a treat. The treat for you would be them behaving, or them treating you nice, or them giving you a relationship, love, showing you all the things that partners are to expect in a relationship. Well, narcissists withhold these things because they know that if they give them to you, you're not going to continue to do what they want you to do. So what do? They treat you like puppies. And until you do what they ask, you won't get your treat. So yeah, this is how sick these people are. I named this episode Death to the Soul because that's what these type of relationships cause. The enemy wants you to die to yourself every day to serve him. Again, you no longer exist. What you feel, not important. What you think, not important. This concept of die to yourself sounds familiar, don't it? As Christians, we are to die to ourselves every day. We are to kill the flesh every day, resist flesh, and commit to the will of God on our lives. Narcissism is a prime example of what's waiting for God's children when they step out of his will. The world is waiting to chew you up and spit you out. Just like a narc, they will hoover you, praise you, lift you up, and then instead of tear you down, they will now bury you alive. The world is ruthless. These examples that I've provided aren't even the tip of the iceberg with these toxic environments. This is just an intro to enlighten some who may be clueless and to bring awareness to young women who's never been in love or experiencing love for the first time. You have to be careful. Romans 6:11 and 12, and this is the NLT version. So you also should consider yourselves to be dead to the power of sin and alive to God through Christ Jesus. 12. Do not let sin control the way that you live. Do not give into sinful desires. 13. Do not let any part of your body become an instrument of evil to serve sin. Instead, give yourselves completely to God, for you were dead, but now you have new life. So you use your whole body as an instrument to do what is right for the glory of God. My bad, that was Romans 6:12 through 13. So we have to change our lives around dealing with these people. You have to realize this is a cycle that's never going to end. They want you to completely be a maid to their wants and their needs. Not being considerate of who you are, what your needs are, and what God called you to be. They don't care about that. Who you are, what you are, does not matter. How you serve them is what's most important. To me, that sounds just like Satan. I had to come to the realization within myself that the enemy hates me because I am saved. The enemy hates me because I do belong to God. He hates me because I have an opportunity that he doesn't. And that is many chances to go to heaven. What we have to realize, though, is that as long as he hates us, and as long as we open ourselves up to people out in the world, meaning partners, we get into relationships with people who are worldly, who aren't connected to him, Satan has the ability to torture you and torment you through these people because he hates you. Because you've given him access to your life, You've given him access to your vulnerabilities and who you are. You remove yourself out of the ark of safety. God's ark of safety, his protection for you. You remove yourself out of the ark of safety when you step into the enemy's camp and you think that you can be in these worldly relationships and that you're not going to get burned by them. I had to learn the hard way. There is nothing more confusing than dealing with somebody who has this disorder. They want you to be confused. They're not confused. They're sure about what it is that they're doing. They know that they want to cast you in their net and keep you caged and only let you out to serve them. We were speaking specifically on the covert narcissist, the one who hides who they are. It's just like Satan to hide who he is. He appears as an angel of light, the Bible says. So he comes to you, presenting to you things that you desire and things that you want. Very much like the covert narcissist. We're talking about people who may have a personality disorder, but they actually study you. They study you and become what they believe, what you desire, in order to suck you in. These people are so cunning at what they do, they will become anything that you need them to be. Not necessarily what you need them to be, but what they know you desire, just to suck you in, just to abuse you, belittle you, and then move on with their lives. This episode was called Death to Soul because when you constantly hear somebody call you something, devalue you, reject you, put you down, it is a death to your soul. You begin to die inside because you begin to believe what is told to you. The mind is so tricky in a way that as long as you keep telling a person that their name is changed, and you keep calling them that new name every day, you can literally change what it is that they know and give them a new reality. You can really make somebody believe things that aren't really true or aren't there if you keep instilling the same stuff into their minds every single day. And what narcissists instill in your spirit is that you aren't anything. They treat you like you're not worthy. They disrespect you. Again, nothing you say, nothing you feel is important. The triangulation stage, they pin you against somebody else. So they make you feel like you have to compete for their love. They do the very same things that was done in their households. They make you feel all of those things that they felt as children. It's all they know. It's all they can share with you because that's all that is inside of them. It's pure evil. They make their victims relive what it is that they've had to deal with all of their lives. But because they're adults, it's more extreme. It's more aggressive. And when you've sustained that type of abuse day to day, it's really a lot that you have to heal from. I mean, things that you probably don't even realize until something triggers it. You could be in a grocery store and see something that could remind you of a certain time or event that happened in your relationship, and it could start everything back all over again for you. Again, and I kept stating this over and over, if you've never experienced this, and this is not a topic that you are close to, I don't suggest that you listen. If you're here to be nosy, you're going to be more confused than ever because, again, you have to have, and I can't stress this enough, you have to have been in a situation like this in order to understand it. Most people see victims that have dealt with narcissistic abuse and they feel like you're stupid. How could you let somebody do that to you? What is wrong with you? Why don't you just walk away? It is easy to walk away. What are you talking about? This doesn't make any sense. People are just using excuses and saying that somebody is psychologically damaged as an excuse not to walk away. So not true. It's so not true. Again, you had to have been in a situation to understand how a lover can play with your psyche. And I'm saying lover because these people watch and wait, and they act like they're pouring themselves into you to make you fall in love with them. And then once you're there, once they know that you love them, that's it. And to be honest, all narcissists aren't honestly created equal, but a lot of them do have these characteristics that I did bring out. Some of them don't all wait till you fall in love. Some of them realize that you've caught on to them, you're not with it, and they keep it moving. They go on to the next person, and you get what's called ghosted. You don't hear from them again because they know that you're no longer of use to them. If a narcissist disappears out of your life, you're no longer of use to them. Now, don't be ignorant. They always keep you on the shelf. And what that means is they always try to find a way to keep an eye on you, or they'll find a way to have somebody else check up on you and see what you're up to. Because like I said in previous episodes, they do still think that you belong to them. And so the reason why they need eyes on you is they need to be able to come back to you when things haven't worked out with someone else. They have a sort of harem with different women. They like to keep different women in the same circle. And so when one thing doesn't work out with one, they hop from that one to the next one. And then when that doesn't work out, they just do a cycle. And if women are, vulnerable enough, if they stay in this triangulation, if they stay in the cycle of being hoovered, devalued, and disregarded, if they stay in that same cycle, they're really part of the circus that the narcissists run. And like I said, the flying monkeys, they help run the circus. The flying monkeys are the worst because they know what's going on. They know about all the women. They know that something is crazy and messed up about this person that they're supporting, but they still will support them. And the sad thing is, they're part of the reason this person continues to do what they do. When you're enabling somebody, you're helping them to be who they are, no matter how dysfunctional it is for them. And excuse me, I mean, if I'm the only one who understands that when you enable people, you hurt them. It's so scary to be a person who enables an abuser, because what if somebody kills that abuser one day? Then what do you say? Do you blame the victim because they got scared and killed this person? Or they got tired of the same cycle? They drove them crazy. They drove them over the edge and they couldn't take it, so now they killed them? The flying monkey will be the first one to run to the police and say, oh, she did it. She's the one who did it. I know she killed him, or I know he killed her. Yeah, but you enabled it. You supported this behavior. If you didn't have all the facts, you still supported the behavior of a person you knew was wrong. Again, you are hurting this person. There's no way a narc should be able to call anybody and say, hey, listen, can you talk to this broad for me? She bugging out. She don't believe me. There's no way you should be getting involved in that. It's too much. You know this person is crazy. Why are you supporting that? It's sad. Listen, I thank God for the opportunity to be able to just bring this to you guys, to be able to make you aware of this stuff. This stuff is scary. It really is scary if you don't have God. It really is scary if you don't have the Holy Spirit providing you with information to let you know, hey, we got to be careful. We got to be careful out in this world. We got to realize that we are a threat to the kingdom of darkness. You are a child of the King. You are a threat to the kingdom of darkness. If you are the one who's involved with a narcissistic person, get out of it. You have given Satan direct access to torment you, to drag you, and to keep you caged like an animal. And the longer you're in it, the more blind you are, the more you won't be able to see. In some cases, you won't be able to understand somebody on the outside trying to explain to you that they've been there and they know what it is to get out. You wouldn't even be able to hear it. Satan will blind you and cause you to have deaf ears, spiritual deaf ears, so that you cannot hear God's voice when he's telling you to come out. When I talked to God about this and he showed me a way out, what he showed me was a vision of the prodigal son. I was laying in my bed and I was praying and I was asking the Lord about the situation, and he showed me the prodigal son, the story of the prodigal son. He sent me to the word, made me read it, and as I read it, I could not believe what I was seeing. God was letting me know I could have provided a true love for you, but you would rather have lied with pigs. That's not what I ordained for you. When you read the prodigal son, you know there's two sons that got something like an inheritance from their dad. Their father was a king. The father gave the two sons their inheritance. He gave one their inheritance, and that one stayed home, and then he gave the other his inheritance, and he left home and he went and spent his money up. He was so used to having, he was so used to living a certain way. He spent it up with no knowledge of, okay, where am I going to make more? He didn't make this money grow. He spent it up. And before he knew it, just to sum up the story, you'd have to go and read it to understand why God sent me in this direction. To sum it up, he spent up all his money and he started to see how he had to live because he had no more money. Before he knew it, he had to sleep with the pigs in a pig pen, right? And so he started to reconsider, knowing that his dad was a king, he started to reconsider going back home because his plan was to take his money and never come back. But he started to reconsider going back home because he thought to himself, wow, even my dad's maids don't live like this. They don't sleep with the pigs. They live better than I do. And so when he went back home, his father was so glad to see him that he wanted to throw the biggest party ever because he was happy that his son was alive. But in those days, if a son left home and the dad thought that he was dead, his inheritance or his inheritance, it went to the next person. It went to the next kid. And so the other son, the one who stayed home, the one who kept all his money, he was upset because he felt like, okay, you thought he was dead. What are you celebrating for? And the dad looked at him and he said, my son is alive. Like, I don't care anything about an inheritance. I don't care anything about the rules and what you're saying. My son is alive, meaning I suffered all this time thinking that my son was dead. And basically all you could say to me is, what are you doing with the inheritance? He didn't care about that. That spoke volumes to my spirit because it allowed me to know that all the time that I was out there with the pigs, not living the ordained life that God had for me, God still loved me and was just waiting for me to come back home. And everything that he had willed for me to have in this lifetime, all the abundant gifts, the power and authority that I'm able to walk in now, God was waiting to give those things to me when I was out with the pigs. I had to look at my situation and realize that all those I knew that were sons and daughters of Christ weren't living the way that I was living. Just like he had to realize, the prodigal son had to realize that not even the maids were living that way. I had to think, wait a minute, this is not what God called for me. This is not his design and plan for my life. Once I came to that thought process and realized who I was and that I didn't belong where I had placed myself, that's when I went back home. That's when I came back to God. And when I came back, he was waiting for me with open arms. It's so amazing to realize that you don't have to be in a cage and you don't have to serve any human being on earth. Again, I want to reiterate that these aren't human beings. These are demonic forces just waiting to torment us because they want to take as many people to hell with them as they possibly could. These situations could drive you crazy. That's what they're set out to do. When you feel low enough, when you feel abandoned enough, rejected enough, you will either go crazy, harm yourself, or someone else. That's the goal. I don't think these people even understand that they're part of Satan's plan. They don't even care. Like I said, they go from person to person, trying to figure out who they can use to fulfill some sort of short-term need. That's all they're interested in fulfilling. These people are compulsive. So they'll do anything with anybody for whatever reason, as long as it's self-serving. Again, like I always do, I pray that this message touched you in your heart, that it opened your eyes, and that it made you see things different. I hope that you feel better about what it is that you've been dealing with and that you're not so confused about your experience. I keep stating that you're not alone. I felt alone because I had nobody to share this with. I had nobody that would understand what it was that I was dealing with. I had to trust God, stay close to his voice, and allow him to lead me in another direction, and he did. I am so grateful that he did. Again, if you are listening to me on Facebook, I'm not on Facebook. I don't know why I said Facebook. If you're listening to me on YouTube, comment, like, share, subscribe, like that so that somebody else can hear the message. We want to spread out this message to a lot of people. A lot of people are dealing with these circumstances and they don't know what this is. They've never heard of it, never seen it before. Some people have parents that are this way. They've never been able to express it before. Share it. Not for me, for them. If it's helping you, share it so that I can help other people. I love you guys. Stay blessed. That is the end of this series. Until next time. Thank you for tuning in to Something to Say, currently airing on Spotify, Podcast, Anchor, web browser, Overcast, Breaker, Pocket Cast, just to name a few. For updates, please follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Both handles are the same. Something to Say Podcast 21. That's SOMETHING, the number 2, SAYPODCAST 21. This is where you can get info on updates for new uploads. You can also comment, like, and share posts. And for those of you who cannot follow us on podcast forums, the link to our YouTube channel is located in the bio. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share so our message spreads out to more listeners. Inbox me or email me, something to say podcast21@gmail.com. Please send in DMs on topics that you'd like to discuss, prayer requests, or questions that you might have. Those of you requesting certain topics can do so anonymously. I pray that the words spoken today will take root in your heart and feed your soul. Until next time, be blessed.